What's up, everybody? You're back in here with the Pro Football Pod. You've got Hulk, you've got Coach, you've got Austin. We appreciate y'all stopping in with us today. We've got I need to change my background, guys. Got to call that out because we've got the Commanders
We got the team.
the record prediction here. There we go. We're getting that fixed right now. Boom. All right. We appreciate y'all. Subscribe down below because this show's an absolute mess and we love it. You'll love it too. All right, guys, the Commanders, their offseason was pretty solid by my standards. They were able to bring in Laramie Tunsil in a trade with the Texans. I love that move, especially for what Laramie did for the Dolphins and all the picks that he brought back. Deebo Samuel, they brought him in for the 49ers. I love that move. Give Terry McLaurin somebody else to help out with. He's just, if you've seen any of the videos circulating since he's gotten paid, he may have bought in a few extra slabs of ribs, which is fine. Just bulk up a little bit. That's cool.
He's just getting some crab cakes down there,
Yeah. They bolstered their defensive line a lot by Javon Kinlaw, Eddie Goldman, both at defensive tackle. Then they got Dietrich Wise Jr. and Jacob Martin at defensive end. Jonathan Jones, Marshawn Lattimore come in at corner for them. Will Harris at safety. Then going into their draft picks, they got Josh Connerly Jr. at offensive tackle in the first round. I really love that pickup, especially with them getting Tunsil on the other side. Trey Amos at corner out of Ole Miss. Love that pickup for him. I like Trey Amos coming out, and I think they desperately needed help there. Jalen Lane, the wide receiver for Virginia Tech in the fourth round. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, running back out of Arizona. I do like that pickup for him in the seventh round. I think that could be a little sneaky pick. And they didn't really lose too many guys. Like Jonathan Allen, their defensive tackle, they released to free up cap space. They lost Dante Fowler Jr., but I mean, he went back to the Cowboys, so he's just kind of been bouncing around. All in all, I think the Commanders have a lot to build on with what they did last year, going 12-5 and just ultimately losing in the NFC Championship.
I feel like the biggest weakness of this team is definitely defensive line, especially with like adding players like Amos and Lattimore. I'm thinking that that's where they need to focus over the next couple of years. But whenever you have a player like Daniels, getting him a solid tackle is obviously the priority. They did a great job of like making sure that this line gets to get a little bit younger because there's not too many young pieces on it right now. Tunsil's 30, and he's been having a great career, but he's still 30 years old at left tackle.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the schedule. Like I said, hit that button down below, the one that says subscribe. All right, guys, week 1, they're at home versus the New York Giants. Week 2, they've got Thursday Night Football in Green Bay. Week 3, they're at home versus the Raiders. Week 4, they're on the road versus the Atlanta Falcons. I've got them going 2-2 in that stretch, losing on the road both times to Green Bay and Atlanta.
I'm giving 3-1. I think they beat Atlanta.
Agreed.
I'll give them 3-1 in that.
I have them losing to Green Bay.
Losing to Green Bay.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta, whenever they played in Washington last year, they were able to take that game down to the wire, and that was, I believe, Michael Penix Jr.'s first start. And so, just thinking with Penix Jr. having a full offseason to work with this team, I like what Atlanta was able to do in the offseason as well. That was one if it was in Washington, I'd give it to him. But this is one to where we're swaying to the home team on that. So you both got them 3-1. I got them 2-2. Week 5, they're on the road versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Week 6, they're at home versus the Chicago Bears. Week 7 and 8, they're both on the road versus Dallas and Kansas City, respectively. I've got them going 3-1 in that stretch, with their loss being to Kansas City on Monday Night Football.
I think that all of those road games are going to be tough for them. I think that they beat Chicago, but I have them losing to the Chargers, Dallas, and Kansas City.
Agree.
Okay. Yeah.
1-3.
Yeah. Actually,
the
3-1,
Chargers,
1-3.
the Chargers were
Yeah.
one that I kind of went back and forth on. I just feel like the way that team is built, the way that this defensive line is such a liability. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Amarian Hampton and who they didn't. No, Denver was the one that got J.K. Dobbins. They got
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris.
Najee.
Yeah.
So I
That's
just feel
interesting.
like by this point, Amarian it'll probably be his backfield, but in general, I think that they're going to be able to run the ball really well, and I don't know if Washington they're going to have to put up a lot of offensive firepower. Chargers defense is also improved, so
I
I
think
just
both
think
of those teams are very comparable,
yeah,
like
I agree.
skill and talent
Yeah.
wise, like the way they're built.
No,
Just
that's valid
better
point.
coaching for the Chargers.
All right, moving on. Week 9, they're at home versus Seattle. Week 10, they're at home versus Detroit. Week 11, they're the home team, but this is in Madrid for the game versus Miami. Week 12, they're on a bye. Week 13, they're at home versus Denver. I've got them going 3-1 in that stretch as well, with their lone loss being to Detroit.
Agreed.
I think they'll beat Denver at home coming off the bye. I think they're going to beat Miami.
Yep.
Just because those overseas games early in the morning like that, they're just always weird. And I think when it comes down to it, like Jayden Daniels is more explosive and is going to cause some problems. I mentioned in the last episode, I think Detroit's going to take a little step back, but I still think they have what's necessary on the defensive side of the ball to be able to slow down the Commanders a little bit. So yeah, 3-1 in that stretch.
You agree with that, Coach?
100%. I think the only team that they don't have is Detroit. I think that Miami doesn't have anybody on their defense that's going to be able to mark Jayden Daniels. And I think that
I need to know right now who on Miami's defense is covering Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then Denver, I feel like is definitely a much improved team. I just feel like they're not going to be able to again kind of shut down Jayden Daniels from doing whatever he wants to do. I think that their run game could potentially be as good as the Chargers, but it's still something that we need to see happen. Last year, you know, Sean Payton thought he had what he needed to be able to run a good run game and ended up blowing it all up by the end of the season.
I like them going 2-2 in that stretch, losing to Denver and Detroit.
Okay, I could see that. Denver at home for Sunday Night Football after a bye week, but that's still one of those like you wouldn't be shocked. All right, so final 5 games here. We've got on the road at Minnesota. Week 15, they're on the road at the New York Giants. Week 16, they're at home versus Philly. Week 17, they're at home versus Dallas. Week 18, they are on the road versus Philly. I've got them going 3-2 in that stretch, with their 2 losses being to Philly and Dallas.
I like that one.
I think they'll split one. I think they end up splitting with Philly and Dallas for the season. So I've got the split coming out right there at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I have them losing to Philly in week 18 at Philly. But other than that, I've got them going 11-6 throughout the season.
Same. That's what I've got them at. And then I think, Austin, if my math is correct, I think you also had them at about 10-7.
Yep.
So Austin thinks the whole NFC East is going to finish at 10-7, except for the Giants.
Except the Giants.
So it's going to be a battle. I think the NFC East is absolutely one of the more exciting teams. Like, it would have been awesome to be able to see the Giants finish with the number 1 pick to get Cam Ward in this division, because Cam Ward with Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Dak Prescott, like, that's just a great division for quarterbacks for you.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, so now we're rocking with Russ, Jameis, or Jackson.
Jackson.
those are the breaks. But hey, Commanders fans, y'all should absolutely be over the moon with the direction your team's heading. You've got a new stadium coming in. The new ownership is just absolutely turning it around for you here. I love what the Commanders are doing. Big fan of them right now as far as an NFC team goes. I love Jayden Daniels. He just solidified how we all thought he was the #1 quarterback coming out last year. I hope he makes that next leap. It looks like he did bulk up a little bit this offseason, put on a little more mass to his frame, which you absolutely love to see that, especially with how thin he was coming out. Guys, if you stayed with us the whole time, we love you. We appreciate you. Subscribe down below. TulsyRoseTea.com is the sponsor. Peace out.